The Environmental Health and Light Research Institute, founded by Dr. Ott, has funded numerous studies on the effects of artificial light on animals and humans. One study centered on school children and classroom lighting. John Ott explains.
Time-lapse cameras were used in a standard first-grade classroom, and several hyperactive children may be noted, especially the boy in the immediate foreground. 90 days after, the regular cool white fluorescent tubes were replaced with the new type full-spectrum fluorescent tubes with radiation shields, there was a marked improvement noted, and the extremely hyperactive boy has voluntarily moved up to the front row. He raises his hand for recognition and is now up at the blackboard taking part in classroom activities. Prior to the time that this new lighting was installed, this particular boy had an extreme learning disability problem, but quickly learned to read within 90 days after the new lights were installed.
Another study for the poultry industry found that chickens living under full-spectrum light had dramatic improvements over their counterparts living under common artificial light. They not only lived twice as long, but produced significantly more eggs. In addition, the chickens were calmer, attacked each other less, and their eggs were lower in cholesterol. Perhaps the most frightening study conducted centered on the lifespan of mice raised under various lighting conditions. This spectrum chart illustrates the range of light wavelengths from ultraviolet through the visible spectrum to infrared. Natural daylight is charted here, running fairly evenly throughout the visible spectrum and dropping off sharply in the ultraviolet. Mice raised under the pink fluorescent tubes covering this narrow wavelength of light only lived an average of 7.5 months. Mice living under daylight white fluorescence lived an average of 8.2 months. Under full spectrum plastic, which blocks very little natural daylight, the mice lived an average of 15.6 months. And finally, mice living under natural outdoor daylight lived an average of 16.1 months, almost twice as long as their counterparts under the limited spectrum fluorescence.